Hi YouTube. So this video is going to be about me trying to figure out what's wrong with this Joy-Con here. So I bought this off eBay, broken. I don't know what's wrong with it, going in blind. So I figured might as well bring you guys in with me. I haven't bought from the seller before, as you know, just a guy. So we'll see what we've gotten ourselves into. Looks to be in alright condition. Actually pretty good. Got a bit of a scratch there. Back looks near about flawless. The R button clicks, which is good on a right side Joy-Con like this. Oftentimes, whenever you get broken Joy-Cons in, what'll happen is the little surface mount button on the motherboard will come off, and that's really hard to get back into place. With left Joy-Cons, you can just pop in a new module, but with the right Joy-Cons, it's not like that. It's a surface mount button that you'd have to resolder into place. So let's see, maybe we'll get lucky with this. Maybe it'll just work, and it'll just need the Joy-Con, or I mean the analog stick needs replaced. The little joystick here, you can see the padding isn't there anymore. Alright, no response. No power. Alright, cool. Kind of what I figured. So let's dig in, see what we got. Is this the right bit? Yeah, but where's my other bit? Ah, here you are. Okay. So let's dive in. It's got all its screws, so I don't know if it's been into before. Just a disclaimer, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just dive in to see what happens. Do this sometimes on the side, you know, just a hobby. So I am not a professional, just do this for fun. If any of you are familiar with my mate Vince, he's a YouTube content creator that does similar things, just kind of gets broken things and tries his best to fix them. That's basically me. That is what I do. Alright, so let's, first of all, sometimes you can get bad batteries. I think I've seen that once before, where a bad battery was causing it to not recognize it all. But it'll, the Joy-Cons will go and find the switch and recognize even without a battery. But if there's a bad battery installed, then that can block the process. So let's get a new one in here. Good one. I had this sitting to the side because I figured, you know, might be a battery issue. Got some other parts sitting to the side here, so I don't have to get up and rummage around things. Nope. Okay, still no power. So it's not battery. You don't want it to be a motherboard issue. That's the worst of your problems. You want it to be, well, ideally you would want it to work. But obviously we don't have that. So let's see. Probably a parts problem. Maybe the side rail here. Maybe the rail is bad. So let's try that. Oh, bump the camera. Shaky. Okay, there we go. So I have a spare rail sitting around. So let's pop that in, see what happens. Let's get this out of place carefully, so not to break the plastic flaps that keeps your flex cables down. Alright, where are my rails? Here we go. This is the right one. Yeah, that's the right rail. Okay. So let's... Should we take this off? Yeah. This is a short flex cable, this little mid frame here, this little mid piece that keeps the shoulder button down. Real short, so it's hard to manage. I feel like I'm gonna break it. They're pretty fragile, but you know, as long as you're careful, you should be fine, but even still, get a little bit nervous sometimes working with those. All right. That should be in place. Should it? It's better. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So now let's take this out too. This isn't secured in any way other than, you know, just sitting in there, so it often just flies out. And better take it out now than trying to search for it on the floor later. Alright, so let's see if Mr. Rail was the issue. No. I would have bet on that being the thing. Let me reseat the connector just in case. Actually, on top of reseating it, I'm just going to get another one. Can never be too sure. You should all be good. I'm putting in here. You never know. Okay, let's try that again. Still no. Okay. All right. So what else could that be? Well, let me make sure the right rail's working on this switch. I mean, it should. No reason it shouldn't, but Joycon. Here we go. Use this to test. Yeah. Okay, that's working. So it's definitely the switch, and it looks to be a motherboard problem because we just put in 2 different rails. No change. All right, let's take a closer look at this. Put this under the microscope now. And can you see this? A little connector here. This is where the flux goes in. And then, well, before you put it in, you have the, hold up. You have the flap up like this. And then once you put the flex in, bring it down like this. And I noticed you have this little black thing here. Kind of looks like, can't really tell a whole lot in the video here, but it kind of looks like a burn mark. You know, some sort of distortion in the plastic. So it kind of makes me think that, you know, that's not normal. You're not supposed to see that. So it makes me think, is that causing a bad connection? I guess we could test around the components for some shorts. That was just the first thing I noticed. Let's do that. Let's test around. Alright, I've got my multimeter on continuity. Oh, and that shoulder button that I was talking about earlier, the surface mount one that's hard to fix, it's this guy right here. So once this comes off, you have these two ground planes right here, and most of the time, since these pins are real weak, you know, they come right off and it pulls the pad with them. So they're really tough to get back in place. Oftentimes you have to scrape the traces back here and solder wires to your new button that you install. And hopefully there's some ground planes to hold it in place, otherwise you might have to do some weird work to get it to hold in place. But these two right here, you can see there's a line between them. They're connected, and that's obviously not going to be a data pin, because you know you can't merge data pins like that. So these are two grounds, so you don't even have to resolder these once you put a new button on. It's just this pin. Since all this button's doing whenever you press it is just telling switch, you know, on or off, 1 or a 0. So once you get a new pin on, or a new button on, you just have to fix that one really, and just make sure it stays in place, hopefully by soldering onto these grounds, or you know, keeping it in place somehow or another. But anyway, back to like this little flap here. What was I doing? Oh yeah, testing components. So the ground plate I'm going to use, put my the black probe on, is actually up at that shoulder button. Alright. We're looking for both sides of a component to be shorting. One side is fine. Most of these are going to have just one side being shorted. That's what you want. Testing the ones around a chip. The free floating ones, since they're not around anything, I don't really know what to reference them to, so if one of those is bad, I don't really I don't know where it could lead. It's a tough one to figure out. So we're just going to test the ones around the chips. I'm not seeing anything. Most of these are going to be, you know, resistors and capacitors, but let me get a better pointer here. There we go. I can just go up here to the screen so you can see. Let me move this wire. Now we got another one in the way, but we can see the thing I'm trying to point to. So these two, they're marked differently than the rest of these components. So you don't have as many of these marked ones as you do the unmarked, so I'm assuming, you know, you got your capacitors and resistors, those are going to make up the majority of your board, but you don't really have as many fuses typically when you're building a circuit board, so I'm assuming these are fuses. This one, and that one. So let's give those a test between one end to another, not on ground, but rather through the component itself. And we're looking for continuity. Looking for a beep. Yeah, that one's good. And if there isn't a beep, that indicates a bad fuse, that it blew. Ah, I was hoping this would be bad, because that would mean that the fuse is blown, which means you should just be able to replace the fuse and you're good. But that is not the case here. This mark on the flap really, you know, makes me curious, makes me think something seems to have happened. Let's pull out the original flex cable. See if we can see any burn marks on it. Although I already gave it a clean. So we probably won't be able to see anything, but we'll give it a shot. That doesn't look bad at all. I'd wager this is good. But I can't tell if anything happened that would cause a little mark like that to appear. Well, I would say replace the flap. Replace this connector. But I don't have a spare one laying around. I don't have any spare Joycons, dead ones, that I want to pull this off of. I think I'm just gonna leave this one for now. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But in the time that I got that Joy-Con, a day or so has elapsed. What do you know? I got another Joy-Con. Got another one. So I have this one open, and you can see here, flap's different. It's not black, the other one's black, but does not have that mark. So, okay, I want to fix a switch, or I want to fix a Joy-Con in this video, but that other one I don't think we're getting anywhere with until I find a new connector. So how about let's do some testing on this one, and hopefully we can get this one up and running. Alright, so back to the hand cam. I bought this one, this Joy-Con, same condition that I got the red one with the bad connector, supposedly, or suspectedly. No power. So I just took it apart to get the reference up on the screen there for showing the two connectors between the red one and this one. So I haven't taken a look at this at all. I don't even know if it's working. I didn't plug it in. I wanted to do all that on video. So let's plug it into the switch and see what happens. Let me put these in, get it back together as it came, then we'll put it in a switch and see what happens. I'll get in there. These are tough sometimes. This one's always easier than this one. At least for me, it seems. Alright, so we don't need a battery. Well, we're going to test the whole unit, so might as well put a battery in. Don't want to use a metal tool to put this battery connector in, since you have the two metal pins on the battery prong. There you can kind of see the two metal pins. You know, when you use metal on metal, might short something. Okay, so we have everything we need to be able to test it. So let's throw it in a switch and see what happens. Connected. But did it? Paired. That was delayed. Oh. Came up for a second. Did you see that? Let's redo that. Okay. Okay, here it is. It's not charging. Okay, that makes me think bad rail. Let's put another rail in this, see what happens. So this one turns on. Well, pairs to the switch. these two ribbon cables here coming off of the back panel here. This one is for connection into the actual Joy-Con rail in here. That's for things like handling charging and pairing and stuff. This extra little flex cable here, it has nothing to do with the connection up to the switch actually. It's to power the LEDs on the side, these two shoulder buttons, and the pairing button right in the middle here. So whenever you're testing, you don't even have to plug this in most of the time. Whenever you're diagnosing things like this, rail problems. Alright, so let's put in another rail. So it's just one that I used as a tester, and the red one that we were just working on. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh wait, battery. Okay. Let's give her another shot. Okay. Seems really inconsistent. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's doing that same thing, not charging. Not charging. I know this battery is good. I want to have a working unit. And I know this rail is good. So what could be in line from the rail up to whatever charges it? Some chip. Could it be a chip? I would think a chip. We just found those fuses. Let me take a look at those fuses and other components just to see. Let's go to the microscope cam now. Alright, so we've got the purple Joy-Con that is not charging. Another microscope here. So I think it'd be best to just go around and test components, but this one fuse that we were looking at that we tested, and the other one, whoa, stay still. There we go. This one fuse is right below the connector, which really, really makes me think what's going on there. So how about let's test this little fuse down here, see what it's doing, see if it's got continuity. Oop. Do you? I don't think you do. Are you supposed to? Maybe that's not a fuse then. Let's look at this one. Okay, that's definitely a fuse. It's got different markings though. This one has a line through it. This one has just a little dot. Try to get my prongs in there better. Okay. Let me get the other Joy-Con, the red one. Test that one. See what's going on with that suspected fuse. See if it has continuity between the 2 points. It's right near the battery terminal. Oh, look at that. It does. Okay, so that's different. Alright, so in the one that's not charging, this probable fuse right there does not have continuity between one end to the other. So, how about let's take it off and put down a wire and see what happens, see if it charges. Let me just take this off real quick. I'm gonna have to use some flux. Thought I could get away without using it. Does not seem to be so. Don't want to use hot air because that battery terminal right next to it made of plastic. I hit it a few times with the soldering iron. Don't want to do that. But what are you gonna do? It's kind of awkward doing this because my camera setup for the microscope, it doesn't see the same things through my eyepieces that the external monitor that you're looking at is seeing. So I have to look above me to the monitor to see what I'm doing under the microscope here. So I can't use the actual microscope. I gotta look up the screen here. It's a little bit tough. Jeez. Stop hitting that. I guess we're just bulldozing this thing out of here. I really don't want to mess up this battery terminal. Man, I'm really botching this. Look at that. Well, I sure hope that was the bad piece, because it is destroyed now. Good lord. Look at that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take this off. Normally, I'm going to adjust my view so that way I can see what I'm doing through the microscope. So you're not going to get a good view. So I'm just going to cut the video and turn it back on once I have this off. Okay, so I've got the fuse off here. See the 2 points here and here. So now I'm going to lay down a wire. I'm going to try to do it again through the external display of my microscope here. And if I can't get it, then I'm going to have to switch back to the other view that you can't see. I'm going to try my best. Trying to find the wire here. Here we go. So I'm going to be putting down some 44 Remington. I have a hard time finding the start of this stuff sometimes since it's so fine. Not sure if you can even see that. Can you see? It's about as thin as a hair. Not thinner. Where's my knife? Here. Yeah, I sure hope this fuse was the problem, because It's not coming back. It is gone. If this does work, then of course I'm gonna put some more solder on the wire and clean it up, and make it all pretty before I seal it up. This isn't gonna be the final job. So just be enough to test it, see if it works. Okay. Now let's test if there's continuity between the pads. Yeah, there is. Okay. Great. So now let's see if it charges. Let's put in the battery. See if the battery fits in still, because I melted that terminal a bit. Yeah, that fits in fine. That didn't affect it at all. Great. Okay, let's switch back to hand cam. Alright, so here she is. Let's put a rail in and give it a test. See if it charges. Let's see. What do you think? I think it's gonna charge. Let's be hopeful. Uh-oh. It's not recognizing now. Oh no. Not at all. Nope. Okay. It went that time. Okay. And look at that. Charging. Uh-huh. Battery is charging. Great. Okay, so that was the issue. But why does it take so long to show up on the switch? That can't be normal, can it? Okay. Maybe it was just, well, I don't know. But now it's working fine. And look at that, he was even going wireless for a second. You see that? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that was the issue, that little fuse. 100%. Awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is clean that area up a bit. Solder that wire down as it should. I'm not going to bother putting in a new fuse. I would, but I mean, how can you really blow that fuse? I don't know how it got blown in the first place, and it didn't look like this controller was opened up before. I guess I should have got it on cam, me opening it up from scratch, so that way you could, you know, have exactly the same experience that I've had. But whenever I was, you know, taking the screws apart, or taking the controller apart, you know, looking at the screws, there weren't any screws missing, they were tight. So it makes me think it wasn't opened up before, it wasn't tampered with, so it makes me think, how did that fuse blow? I could imagine if you're taking it apart, you know, trying to take the battery out, or you're trying to seal it back in, you connecting the two terminals, that could definitely blow that fuse. But just in normal use, I'm not sure how that fuse could blow. I'm trying to think it through. I don't know, unless it was a bad battery, which near about positive I tested it in one of those controllers and it was working fine. So, I don't know. I'll be back when I have it all ready to fully seal up and test 100%. Alright, I'm back with it nearly assembled, and hopefully with a little bit better lighting too. So, I cleaned up those pads, the wire a bit, got it all looking nice, put it all back together with its original components. So let's put the shell on and pop it into the switch and see if it works as it's supposed to. And if so, we'll go ahead and seal it up the whole way. Alright. Let's see. Fingers crossed. Yep. And it appears right away too, before it used to take its time coming up. Okay. Great. I'm gonna put it into another switch. See if it takes a long time to appear like it did before. Try it in this one. Yeah. Does take a bit to appear. It's not charging again. Well, I wonder why. It does over in this one, right? No? Well, what in the world? Not charging. I know when the Switch console itself is below halfway charged, it won't charge the Joy-Cons. But this one's more than halfway, so it should be charging. Alright, well I'm gonna think about it a little bit. So I open it up, and not sure if you can see, but battery connector isn't in the whole way. So let's fix that and see what happens. Weird how I didn't catch that. I guess just throwing it together happens sometimes. It must have already been loose so whenever I was jostling around a little bit, must have came undone. Okay, let's see what happens now. Do you charge? Yes, you do. Awesome. Now, what about on the other switch? Do you come up right away and do you charge? Yep, you do. Ah, that's stupid. At least it was simple. Okay. Let's go ahead and seal this back up. Cool. So we got 1 out of 2 Joy-Cons fixed. And the other one, I am pretty sure I know it's wrong. So now I guess I just gotta wait for, get a Joy-Con that I absolutely have no idea, cannot fix, am actually gonna use for spares, and not ever try to repair. And I'll pull the connector off of it and slap it on that one, the one with the bad connector, and see what happens. Hopefully that'll be the fix. You never know. Nothing's simple. I really like this color purple Joy-Con too. It's a deep purple. Can't really find that anywhere. Custom shade. Really nice condition too. Very good. Alright, now that we have it together, let's test the buttons real quick, and then we'll end off the video. Alright. Settings, controllers and sensors, test input devices, test controller buttons. Back shoulder, right, plus, A. It's like double pressing itself and going back. Oh, I know. Sometimes that can happen if this screw is on too tight, this top shoulder one. So let me loosen that one, and this one sometimes too. I'm going to loosen that a bit. Yeah, that feels better. And it's not doing that double pressing. Okay, awesome. X, Y, A, B. Gonna log in. And we know the home, but we'll press it again. Okay, so now let's do the joystick calibration. See if it's drifting. Oh. Input devices, no. Control sticks, there we go. You on center? On all angles? Yes, you are. Awesome. Okay. Well, we now have a fully working Joy-Con. Awesome purple. Can't stop admiring it. Spyro purple. Okay, well that'll do it for this video. Very good. Thanks for watching.